In today's video, I'm going to do something I've only done 3 or 4 times before ever on my main account here, and that is pull during an extra legendary event. Now, you may be asking why I've pulled so few times during extra legendary events, because as a free to play player, don't you want to get extra value? And there's so much value here. And a lot of content creators say this is the best shard pull event in the entire game. But for free to play players, you have to be careful. It can be the best event in the game. It can also be a trap. So I'm going to explain a little bit about that today. Don't worry, I'll keep it light on the math. We'll go quick. And then I'm going to pull some shards. Maybe I'll just pull one shard. We'll have to see. But I will be getting 2 legendaries in today's video, so you should stick around for that. I am Colred. This is Colred Plays Raid Shadow Legends. Let's get started. What makes this event so good, and why is it such a big trap for so many players? In order to answer those questions, we have to look at the math just a little bit. Now, I did contemplate doing a whole spreadsheet thing and, doing the chalkboard and all that stuff. But the reality of it is it's late. It's late. This event's almost over. So really, I just want to give you a brief plain language explanation of why this event is good and why it's a trap, so that you can hold on to that information for the next time this pops up. And if you're worried you're going to forget about it, go ahead and bookmark the video. And then you'll have it for the next 1+1 Sacred Shard event, which happens every few months, it feels like. They do these more often than they used to. Okay, so first of all, let's start by taking a look at the drop rates here. So you have to remember that a 1+1 event does not change the drop rates on Sacred Shard. So there is a 6% chance of getting a legendary champion from a Sacred Shard. At a 6% chance, on average, it takes around 11 or 12 Sacred Shards to hit on a regular 1x chance. So if you are starting from scratch here and you're not getting into the Mercy system, you literally your last Sacred hit, you're talking about 12 shards. It's closer to 12 than 11, so let's call it 12 shards. Now, the Mercy system kicks in after 12 shards, and there's no surprise that they picked that number, right? They picked that number very specifically because this is sort of the break-even point. 12 shards is the break-even point. Now, every Sacred Shard that you pull past that point, right? So the 12th shard pull does not have any additional percentages, but the Mercy system gives you an additional 2% chance for every shard, starting with your 13th shard. So your 13th shard has 8% chance when it's a normal default, drop rate. So we have 6% chance, we get an extra 2% chance on our 13th shard. That goes up to 8, then 10, then 12, then 14, 16, so on and so forth. And you can tell that, even if you get up to a point where you're you got a 20% chance of hitting, you still have an 80% chance of missing. So the Mercy system here for Sacreds isn't phenomenal. Now, if you do the multiplications out, if you do the actual math, you find that the Mercy system helps quite a bit. You're not going to be pulling 50 shards. You're not. It's possible, but you're not. You're not going to have to pull all the way to the last shard, get all of that chance increase. You don't need all of that. Now, during a 2x event, which is really the thing that you want to compare this 1+1 event to, remember that your default summoning chance goes up to 12, right? So at that point, the 2x during a 2x event, 12% chance on any given shard to pull a legendary. On average, it's between 5 and 6 shards to hit your first legendary. And then it would be between 5 and 6 shards to hit your second legendary. So it's about 11 or close to 12 shards to hit 2 champions, right? To hit twice during a 2x event. So these two events seem very similar. If you start completely at 0, right? Pulling 1 shard, you hit on your last Sacred Shard. 12 shards in both events should net you 2 champions on average, right? On average. So they're about the same. Now, that's sort of superficially true. You have to remember a couple of things. One is that when you're doing a 2x event, you're going to hit your first champion somewhere around your 5th or 6th shard on average. Now, you could miss, you could be unlucky, and you could have to pull 15 shards. That happens to people. I'm not saying it doesn't. But on average, across the community, or all the times that you pull shards, they'll take between 5 and 6 shards to get your first champion. So when you're going for your second champion, you already have one in the bank. This is not true with a 1+1 event. You have to hit, and when you hit, you get 2 champions. So 50% of people who are pulling, from 0 on the mercy counter during a 1+1 event, they'll get to 12 shards, and 50% of the people who do that will get nothing. They'll get nothing. Whereas it's a lot less, it's about 25% of people during a 2x event. It's actually less than that. Honestly, it's a lot less than that. I'm sorry. Don't ignore that. Ignore that. It's a lot less than 25%. It's probably something like 5%. So the risk of engaging in a 1+1 is much higher. And the way that we mitigate this risk, the way that we actually put the numbers back in our advantage, is we get close to the mercy system before we ever do an extra legendary event. So if you are in the mercy system, you're already getting that extra boosted percentage every turn, right? So let's say, for instance, the way I am tonight, I have pulled 14 shards already. So my first pull tonight will be the 15th shard. I'm in mercy already. So rather than having a 6% chance, I'm going to have a 12% chance on my first shard, right? I get 8 at 13, 10 at 14, and 12 at 15. So this shard will have a 12% chance. So if I do the math, on average, it's going to take me between 4 and 5 shards to hit on this 1+1 event because of where I am in the mercy. Now that's really valuable because remember, it would take me an average of 12 shards during a 2x event to get 2 champions. And here I'm going to be able to do it, hopefully, in about 4 or 5 shards. Now, there's another thing that you should consider, which is that during a 1+1, when you're on a single 6% chance, if you pull 20 shards, you start at 0 and you pull 20 shards, there is a 13% chance that you miss. 13% of the people who pull 20 shards, starting at 0 on the mercy counter, will miss entirely. And that's just that's almost impossible. It would be an astronomical number, small percentage of people who would miss during a 2x event on 20 shard pulls. So basically what we learn here when we're thinking about how good is this event, it's extremely good if you are already in mercy. It's pretty good if you are close to mercy. And it's not great if you are starting from scratch, right? Especially if you don't have a huge pool of sacreds. So if you have an unlimited number of sacreds, let's say you're a spender and you're willing to just buy and buy and buy, right? Well, then you can guarantee yourself that you're going to hit the extra legendary. And if everybody did that, the average would actually be pretty good, right? But I only have 17 shards. I can't even do the 20 shard pull thing here. I don't have that. If I pull these 17 and I don't hit, I've just destroyed my shard pool on a bad bet, right? Like on a risky bet, which would not be the same during a 2x event. It would be much, much better rate of return on a 2x event. So what's the number? What's the break-even point? I don't actually know. I didn't do that math. I didn't find the break-even point. I suspect it's somewhere towards 12. I don't think it's 12, but I think, let's say you're pulling your 8th shard, you're probably ahead of the curve, right? There's still a decent risk there. And what's the number of shards that you're going to have to pull there? I don't know. You could do that math. But, on average, it might be something like 8. I would guess maybe it's about 8. So if you're sitting on 17 shards and your next pull would be the 8th towards the mercy counter, you'd be like, yeah, I'm going to hit it. I'm going to hit it. And I'm probably going to hit it on average at a better rate than a 2x event. So that might be the break-even point. It might even be lower. It might be like the 6th pull. I don't know. But as a free-to-play player, I don't want to go that deep on my sacred shards. I want to hold on to these for the next fusion event. I want to hold on to these for the next Titan event. I want to hold on to them for the next 2x event. especially if I'm in the early or mid game. So my rule of thumb is if I am basically over 10. So if I'm at 11 or 12 or in Mercy, that's when I pull, because then I know I can usually do that in under 10 shards, and I'm going to get that extra champion. That's why I've only done this. Like, I think this is my 4th time on this 4-year-old account, because I save sacred shards for fusions, I save sacred shards for Titan events, and I save sacred shards for, 2 times events or this. And for it to all line up where I'm in Mercy, I have a nice shard pool, and a 1+1 comes up. This only happens like once a year. So this is my once a year, and hopefully, we're ahead of the curve. So that's my explanation. I hope that wasn't too boring for you. I hope it made sense. If you have any questions about it, certainly let me know in the comments below. You can also look at HH Gaming. I bet Saf has a really detailed explanation of the math here. These events have been around for a while, so this isn't new, but I know newer players may not have heard this explanation before. And again, like, if you made the mistake of pulling too many shards here because you weren't anywhere close to Mercy, like, don't worry about it. Give yourself a pass and just know that you've learned your lesson, and the next time this event comes around, you're going to want to understand where you are on your Mercy counter. So it's good to keep track of that. The game doesn't do it for you, unfortunately, but RSL Helper does. We have a tracker in our Discord community that you can use as well, that my editor, whose name is Sun, developed. It's a really cool little bot, and you can help track you there. I think there's also a new Mercy counter on, I'm not 100% sure if Fastidious has one up yet. I think he was talking about it, but it might be there. So you should check that out, fastidious.gg. So there are, there's also pencil and paper. You can always do it old school if you need to, but you want to track your sacred shards. For me, I'm lucky because I record a lot of my shard pulls, and that helps. All right, so yeah, that's it. Let's go ahead and get to the shard pulls. What I'm really hoping for today is Kymar. That's the big one. There's a ton of other great champions that would be nice, but Kymar is the big one. He would be really helpful. I've been asking for him for like over a year now, and I don't feel like I've even gotten close, but who knows? All right, so we're hoping to pull within 4 shards. I would love to get it on my first shard and just be done. We're hoping to get it within 4 shards. 5 would be the average. If I have to pull as many as about 9, I'd be okay with that. Anything under 9, I'd feel is a win. If I have to pull more than 9, it's really bad, but I will keep pulling until I hit. And let's hope it isn't brutal. All right, here we go. First one. Come on. Nope. I was hoping right away out of the gate. I figure, karma's gonna hurt me here. Number 2. All right. I don't feel good about this. Number 3. So here's the average. Here's the break-even point would be 4. Nope. Number 5. It's pretty close to 50-50 by number 5. There it is. There it is. That's not bad at all. Who's my extra? Who's my extra? Come on, be somebody good. Suzerain Catan. This is interesting. I've had this champion a few times. And yeah, he's okay. And Vizier Ovelis, I don't really know this champion very well. He is a dark elf and undead hordes. Okay. Attacks one enemy 3 times hitter. On the A1, 2 times hitter, block buffs, debuff spread, perfect veil. Doesn't look all that interesting. I like AoE A1s, and this does have a 50% chance of decreased speed on it. It's not bad. It's not a bad A1. The A2 is a weaken and a decreased defense, but it's not 100% chance on the decreased defense, which is frustrating. And then the A3 is also an AoE with a heal reduction, removes shield, block damage, and unkillable buffs from all enemies, then attacks them. The buff removal cannot be resisted, but you need accuracy to land the heal reduction and the weaken and the decreased defense. So I don't know. I guess, I don't know why that matters, I guess. But all right, he's not bad. He's not bad. I remember having him on a couple of accounts and him doing decent work for me when I pulled him early. But on this end game account, I don't know that he'll ever get any work at all. Maybe he's a decent Hydra champ. I mean, doesn't feel like it. Feels like he'd be okay. But let me know what you think. Any of you who run Suzerain Catan, Let me know where you run him, what his best case use is, and you never know, maybe I will end up building him. But okay, so 5 shards, which was right around the break-even point. It's not bad. Not bad on the 1+1. Not as exciting as my last one. I think on my last one I got Elva. I got some trash champion and I got Elva, and I was really excited about Elva. But you know, 2 champions, and I think both new to the account. Let's double check that. Yeah, both new to the account. So that's not a bad thing. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. All right, so that is it for today's video and today's lesson and today's commentary. Let me know if you pulled this weekend. Were you lucky enough to hit on the 1+1, and who did you get? That is it for me tonight. Thanks so much for hanging out. I have been Cole Red. I'll see you in another video soon.